When you think of California wines, your mind probably goes to places such as Sonoma and Napa Valley, homes of some of the most famous wines in the entire world, juggernauts in the wine industry. But did you know there are multiple different small vineyards spread all throughout the North State? Places such as Raging Bull Vineyards, nestled in the hills west of Orland and southwest of Corning, two towns on the I-5 corridor. They have a beautiful vineyard right here, just right next to Black Butte Lake. And today, we're going to go experience it. We're gonna tour the grounds, we're gonna taste the wine, we're gonna pet their dogs, and we're gonna have a great time while doing it. So let's get to it on this episode of Hidden Gems of Northern California. Northern California has plenty of breweries, distilleries, and wineries nestled up in its hills. But when I knew I wanted to do a Hidden Gems of Northern California episode on one of them, Raging Bull Vineyard was the first one that came to mind. Every time I'd seen this little winery off the side of the road as I drove to and from Black Butte, I just knew I needed to stop in one of those days. I'm a sucker for little places squared away in the hills, and I'm a sucker for wineries. So when I reached out to Raging Bull and they agreed to let me come out and shoot some video on their property, I was thrilled. This series is all about showing off these amazing little places that you will never find anywhere else. Hidden Gems of Northern California. One other cool thing about the Orland area is the fact that it has a honeybee festival that basically celebrates all sorts of apiarists around the community and the creation of honey and honeybees, which are so integral to so many crops here in our area. We depend on honeybees to pollinate all of our almonds, for instance, and there's a lot of other, main majority of all of the crops grown in this area, except for maybe like rice and wheat and corn, all depend on honeybees in order to pollinate themselves and create the fruit. So really cool little thing about Orland that never quite knew until a couple years ago. So hoping I can make it to the honeybee festival this year, because I think that would be really cool. You can see all those little boxes out there. Those are, I believe, queen bees. They are colonies that are getting started out there, and then eventually they'll get moved into these bigger boxes right here, which are the full-blown beehives. Growing up most of my life, there's a huge rivalry between Willows and Orland, whether it was fire department, football, sports, just everything. There was always this huge rivalry. And over the last couple of years, at least with like the fire department, we've all started working together a lot more and responding to each other's major incident calls when help is needed and becoming friends with each other. And it's really nice to see. You know, there's a difference between a healthy rivalry and just, I'm not even sure what the proper term would be, just kind of grinding your teeth at the fact the other person exists. I like the rivalry, but it's been really nice to get to know Orland a lot more over the past couple of years. And as I've started doing more and more of these videos, coming up here and doing search and rescue missions, search and rescue training, I've been getting to know the area a lot more, and that's what makes this really special to me. Driving up towards the vineyard and seeing Black Butte, which is the big mountain next to Black Butte Lake, it just reminds me of all the great times I've had up here with either fishing with the family or search and rescue missions, search and rescue training. It's a beautiful little area. This time of year is the absolute best time to go up here and explore all of these little hidden gems, little hollows, little adventures up here in the hills. It's just right about springtime, just starting to warm up. The flowers are all starting to bloom. The grass is all still nice and green. This is about the perfect time to explore everything that the hills of the Sacramento Valley have to offer. No matter you're on the east side or the west side. I don't make it over to the east side over by Chico and Oroville, Paradise, all those places very much, but I do try and explore the west side at least a couple times a year because it's just beautiful right now. I mean, it doesn't hurt that the fact that my favorite color is green, and then all of the wildflowers that are blooming on the green just make it so perfect. And as you're driving along these hills and seeing all of the bluffs, all the plateaus, all the hills start to turn into mountains with the giant blue-purple mountains behind them still covered in snow, it's about as good as you can get, in my opinion. And here we are, Raging Bull Vineyards. Now out here on the Raging Bull Vineyards grounds, there's all sorts of stuff to do. There's a pond right behind me that's stocked with bluegill, catfish, and bass that guests can come and fish at. They even have a little built-up sand beach right there for your kids. And if you're one of those people that loves to travel, they're a perfect host for the Harvest Host app, which allows you to come and stay and enjoy this beautiful little area as long as you support their business. Out here, they have 200 acres of land, 20 of which is planted in grapes. They have multiple different types of grapes out here that they use to create their various wines. Whether it's a single type of grape for a single type of wine or a blend, they have something that will suit you. Out here, they have Malbec grapes, Cabernet Sauvignons, Grenache, Sauvignon Blancs, Merlot, and Syrah. There is something for everyone out here. When I walked into the winery, I was immediately greeted by the owners, Sharon and Charlie, who were more than happy to give me a tour of both the inside and the outside of the winery. I also met Rue the wiener dog and Stella the corgi, who I was informed were the guard dog and boss.
A new release you get. New release party last
I was wishing I could have made it for that release party, but it's just been.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I'm sure you know as well. There's just not enough time in the world.
Offer Harvest House.
That is nicer than my shower at my house. And so, is this your guys' actual like brewing area or not?
Yeah, everything's made right.
Okay.
So there inside, there's another tank room. So that right here is the whole, everything takes place right here. Bottling, production, winemaking, harvest, everything. So these are, and of course the tanks are all empty because we're all done for the year. All the tanks are glycol controlled. They all have submersing lids, which keeps the oxygen out. So in here's another barrel room. So these are for next year. Some of them.
So when is your guys, you mentioned harvest is done for the year.
Well, harvest was done, actually, we did it in August of last year. Bottling is done for the year. We bottled in January. We bottled 3,500 cases, which is about 37,000 bottles of new wines. So.
Where do you guys get all of your wine bottles from?
We order them a year in advance, wherever we can. And I think it's South something bottling. But yeah, we if you don't get in line for bottles, you're not going to get them.
Do you guys do any fruit wines?
Like
strawberry?
No.
Okay, cool.
The only sweet wine we have will be our dessert wines. And those are like 19.9% alcohol.
Small.
But they're also, it's made with brandy, which is made from our grapes.
So you guys make brandy too?
We don't. We had to find somebody with a still. We had ruined 3,400 gallons of red wine. And we're like, oh my God, what are we going to do with this? This is years ago. And somebody said, well, you make it into brandy. Find somebody with a still, and then you can make a dessert wine. We found somebody with a still, which he made 100, I think we had 150 gallons of brandy, 160 proof diesel fuel is what I call it. Another tank room in here. And hoses and generators and
those are
crushers back there.
I was wondering, so obviously you guys don't do the
press actually.
Gotcha. You don't do the feet stomping thing.
Yeah, we did this year.
You did?
Last year we did. The winemaker did. He got in the tanks and was stomping away, and I said, "This is cool." He's like, "Do you want to do it?" And I said, "I do, but not right now. We didn't have enough time."
I don't know if I could ever do it because I always think of one of those first viral videos when the internet was first created of that poor newswoman stomping on the grapes.
Once it goes through the press, once they all are done fermenting and goes through the press, That's what's left is in there is the skins, the seeds, if any, the stems,
Okay.
whatever. Just the juice comes out in the bottom, and then it's hooked up to one of these hoses and goes into one of the tanks.
That's really
So,
cool.
yeah.
What all grapes do you guys grow here?
We have Merlot, Syrah, Cabernet, Sauvignon Blanc, Grenache, Malbec. That's the 6. So.
I'm a huge Cab Sauv fan. Love Merlot. My wife and mother-in-law really love Sauvignon Blanc, and my mother
We have
too.
the best one this year. I'll hook
I
you up.
will
Yeah.
be taking a bottle of
The
that home,
Malbec-
please.
Our Malbec is our most award-winning wine. Most of the wines that we have that I told you, I've been in the Sunset Magazine rated at 97 points or above. Won many double golds on them. So
Awesome.
we got Winery of the Year in 23 from our 22 Sauvignon Blanc internationally. So
I think I'm
yeah.
just gonna have to buy a bottle of each to take home.
We'll hook you up nicely. In the bar.
Well,
So this used to be the old barrel room, but now it's a storage room because we're out of storage. This is the bride's room.
so you guys obviously have weddings out here as
A
well?
lot of weddings.
That's
a lot
really cool.
A lot of parties, bridal showers, celebration of lives. Yeah, so it's the bride. Our bar we got on Craigslist, and
I would never have believed that because this is a really, really cool bar.
this bar is what, Charlie? 105 years old. So it was made in St. Louis by L.L. Grossman and Sons.
Wow.
So yeah. So
So the bar that we sit at, or the bar behind it as
all
well?
of it. Every bit of it.
That is so cool.
Then we have the deck. This is the deck, and there's a lot of weddings out here.
I can
So,
see why. Is there any fish in the pond?
Yes, we have it stocked with bluegill, largemouth bass, and catfish. And the fish are as big as 6 pounds.
Holy smokes! Because that was
I saw some 5 3/4 pounds pulled out last week. So,
wow.
Yep.
Because that was my first thought: is come out
And-
here, have a glass of wine, and just
Yeah.
throw a rod out right out there.
And we do. We have rods here for people. We dye the pond when there's a wedding or an event. It's a real pretty blue green. It's so family friendly. We want everybody to enjoy what we enjoy because there's no way in heck we can enjoy all this.
Once Sharon had finished giving me the walkthrough of the inside of the winery, it was time to hop into side by side and go exploring with Charlie and Stella. We hopped in his little ATV and took all of the amazing roads that surround the property, which are just one of my favorite places in the world to be. Cruising through the hills in the beautiful spring weather with the wind in your hair is just one of life's great little joys, and couldn't pick a better place to do it at.
Ready to go for a ride?
People actually camp up here.
That was my first thought. Was man, that would be a beautiful little camp spot up here, especially all away from all the light pollution and whatnot, to be able to see the stars. So, did you guys start the winery up here? Did you buy it from someone else? Or
Started it from scratch.
wow.
I'm a water well driller by trade. And so I wanted to plant something out here that didn't take a lot of water.
Yeah.
And I like the way houses on a hill look surrounded by grapes.
Agreed.
And then we planted some more grapes and some more. And to be honest with you, the wine deal was kind of an accident. It was
That's the way best things are sometimes.
it's actually a good place to go grow grapes. Contradictory to what people told me when I planted them, they were wrong because we have a little breeze on the side of these hills and we just don't have to spray very little fungicide. Very little anything we have to spray.
Maybe it's because I've been reading the Little House on the Prairie series to my kids recently, but driving through these hills and hearing about the history of this winery and how it got started reminded me so much of the homesteading of old, coming to a wild and untamed place and making something even more beautiful out of it.
Generally, it takes grapes about 7 years to reach fruiting stage, meaning from the time you put that grape plant in the ground to the moment you're getting your full harvest full of grapes is about 7 years. Out here at Raging Bull,
they've actually had some grapes that have been able to produce as early as 3 years, which is incredible in the wine industry. Now, I've been to a lot of wineries in my short time on this planet. I've always loved going and touring areas like this, not just because I'm a farmer, but because I've always loved wine. Even before I could drink it, I was so intrigued by the mystique of wine. Having these rolling hills full of vineyards, that then you take those grapes and you turn them into this mystical concoction over the several years. That's one of the cool things I love about wine so much. I used to brew beer a lot, and the turnaround time on that was about a week or two. Wine, you have to get it right and you have to wait. Wine is best served when it's aged, usually. So being able to come out here and meet with the owners, meet with the growers, meet with the producers of all of this wine was a really cool experience. There's been so many vineyards I've been to where you come, you talk with the staff. It's great. They're very friendly. I love them. I love the experience. But this is the first vineyard I've been to where I show up and the people that are making the wine, the people that are growing the grapes, are on site, not just serving you, but telling you their entire story. Being out here in these amazing vistas while I'm learning all about the history of the Raging Bull Vineyard was such an awesome experience. It made it feel so much more like I was part of the family. And I just walked in here as a mediocre YouTuber who mainly runs a channel about drones and said, hey, I'd really like to come see your winery. And they treated me like family. That goes a long, long way in my opinion. It's one of the coolest experiences I've had at a winery in my entire life. And I've been to multiple world-class vineyards when I was in New Jersey during my time in the Air Force and in Napa Valley where I proposed to my wife. I have really seen a lot of vineyards, and this is by far the friendliest.
I'll be right back with you, okay?
This is a Grenache. How you doing?
Grenache.
Good. How you doing?
That's very
I'm gonna do whites and he's gonna do red.
Okay. So actually, I have a 24 Sauvignon Blanc that's not on here yet.
Okay.
So if you want to go in line with the Sauvignon Blancs, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
And what is it a blend of?
Okay.
Merlot, Grenache, Malbec, and Syrah.
You talked me into it. You talked me into
All
it.
right.
Such a salesman.
It is though. That's the new one, the 23, and it's better than the 22.
That one's
This
very
is the
good.
new Coyote.
The Grenache was quite good, but I like this one much more.
Hi.
So Sharon, which one was this one? You just...
That's the 23 El Coyote,
Okay.
which I like better.
Oh yeah. No, significant improvement. Not as much tannins, not as much bite. And this is the Sauvignon Blanc?
Sauvignon Blanc 24. Okay.
Oh, it smells so good.
What? Yeah, I'm going to actually dump this. And I'll dry. Gosh.
Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna need at least 2 bottles of this. One for my mother, one for my wife.
I know. That one, I'm telling you, is the best Sauv Blanc we've done. I totally agree.
Holy smokes. So my wife's favorite Sauvignon Blanc is probably Kim Crawford.
Oh, does she like that? So
she
that's,
does.
And that's a little sweet.
It's a little sweet, but it's also got kind of this bitter flavor to
Yeah.
it a little bit that I'm not a huge
I've
fan of.
had
This
it.
right here, there's none of that bitterness in this.
No, that's why I like ours.
That is legitimately
yeah,
one of the best Sauvignon Blancs I've ever had.
Do you want to try the 23?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that one's 23.
It's funny. Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a red wine fan, and this white wine is phenomenal.
Wait till you try the 22.
Oh boy. So this is the bourbon barrel?
Yep. And that's the Raging Red BB, aged in our bourbon barrels.
I can smell it. You can smell the bourbon immediately.
Oh, and you know what? These barrels came when we got them. They had bourbon, the leftover bourbon in them.
So when the harvest host comes, do they just stay here, or is there like events for them, or is it just kind of like a hey?
They stay
stop?
overnight. In the app is what they do. They stay overnight for 24 hours. Okay. They're very generous and they're very good people. And that's where we offer the shower, bathrooms. They can fish. We have fishing poles, worms. They usually sit out on the deck, have a good time. We usually will throw something on the Traeger, the barbecue, and we invite everybody out. If they're in here, they're eating with us. And we'll usually do that on a Sunday, so that's tomorrow. So doing a YouTube video.
This is the one.
Yeah.
I thought it was a toy helicopter.
Yeah, she left. She had to go into where my daughter is.
Yeah.
One of the number one reasons I started this series was to tell stories about my home, Northern California. And no other place that I've done on this series so far has felt more like home than Raging Bull Vineyard. From the moment I walked in and met Sharon and Charlie, it felt like I was family. They treated me like I had been coming here for years. I could tell right away that Sharon and Charlie and all the other staff at Raging Bull really seek to make this a place where you can get away from it all, whether you've been coming here for years or it's your first time stopping along by the road. I also recommend when you stop by, take a tour of the grounds and see some of the best terrain that Northern California has to offer. Rolling hills with towering mountains in the background. We're chock full of it up here, but it's hard to beat this area. Maybe I'm biased. I could spend days walking around these hills, contemplating what and who came before us, and contemplating the future that is always uncertain when you're in the agricultural industry. But for now, it was nice to just get away on a beautiful Saturday, sit down, have a couple glasses of wine with friends, and just enjoy the peace that this place brought.
I'm usually a huge fan of red wines. I love a good, so dark it's almost purple, Merlot or Cabernet Sauvignon. But I gotta admit, their Sauvignon Blancs, and especially their dessert wines, were out of this world. I'm not usually a huge fan of dessert wines, but I could have poured their dessert wine over a glass of ice and called it a cocktail, and I bet you all would have believed me. It was that good. So whether you're driving by, just trying to get to your destination, looking for a place off the beaten path where you can get a quick snack and a quick drink, or even stay the night, I highly recommend stopping here. Or if you're looking to stay a little longer of a time, if you're looking to go on some of the hiking trails, or you're looking to go fishing at the reservoir right next to us, Black Butte Lake, why not stop in at Raging Bull Vineyards, where you'll be treated like family and you'll have some of the best wines that not just Northern California, but California has to offer. That's gonna do it for this episode of Hidden Gems of Northern California. I had such a phenomenal time here. Getting to hang out with Charlie, getting to hang out with Sharon, getting to see the vineyard with my own eyes, getting to drive around these beautiful hills and try their equally as beautiful wine has been such an awesome experience. This has legitimately been one of the most friendly vineyards and wineries I've been to in my entire life. Getting to just sit down at the bar, swap stories, talk about the wines, talk about the world with the owners and vintners here on the premises has just been such a really cool experience to me that I'm not even playing it up for the camera. I'm gonna be back here with my family as soon as I possibly can. Raging Bull Vineyards is truly the epitome of a hidden gem of Northern California. Off the beaten path with very little advertising, a place that you wouldn't know unless you happen to be traveling this road. And now, I hope you will travel it too. Do yourself a favor and come check out Raging Bull Vineyards. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.